You're live. Alrighty. Hey guys, it's Ray, and we are streaming blacksmithing. Let's see if I can see what's going on here. Okay. Okay, cool. So today we are back down to one camera. We will be swapping views with the stand like we were. I still have yet to get the Wi-Fi booster, so I won't be able to have two cameras yet. A few other things that we are going to be doing is, and I will, as people come on in, I will probably repeat some of this. I will be changing my Twitch tag. At least I will probably change it on at least by Monday. I'm hoping to change it by Wednesday. I just want to let you guys know so that you're not confused when it alerts you that a new handle is streaming and live. But I want it to be a little bit more blacksmithing related. And right now it's just kind of like my gamer tag from back when I used to just watch people's Twitches. So I want to kind of brand a little bit so that you guys are, know what you're getting into. And I can put my YouTube channel together and like an official Facebook so that it's all nice and together and easily reachable. Hello there. Hello, welcome in. I'm very glad that you've joined us today. How did the bottle opener go? Sorry, I missed that. It went all right. We had a little bit of issue putting the face on. What we did was we were decorating our bottle opener. We were trying to make a horse. It kind of turned out to look a little bit more like a seahorse than anything. But there's the eyes right there and some nostrils, and we opened its mouth a little bit. Let's see, it's not really focused on that very well. And then we moved his head down, but we didn't have time to give ourselves ears. So I will see about doing some more animal heads in the future. And set myself up for a little bit further towards success and maybe practice a few before I, get back on the stream and do another one. So we'll definitely be doing that sometime within the next few months. So yeah, today we're going to do a corkscrew. I've seen them done, but I've never actually gotten to do one myself. So I'm going to teach myself to do it, and I'm going to take you along with me. Not half bad, yeah. I hope it wasn't half bad. But yeah, the problem that I seem to face a lot with these streams is that 2 hours is not a long time to, complete a whole project. So it's like I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna expand out our projects so they take multiple days, or if I'm gonna try and do, more simple projects. And I think a combination of that is probably where the sweet spot is. But yeah, I know that you guys are interested in seeing some longer and larger scale projects. And I'm definitely planning on doing a few of those later on in the 2025. And I will, yeah, I'm planning on doing a few of those, but for the most part, while I'm still trying to learn the softwares and how everything works with the stream, I think I'm going to stick to the slightly simpler projects. I could use a new corkscrew. I keep misplacing the one I have. Yeah, they are kind of really easy to, lose in the junk drawers. I know every Midwestern or Midwestern family that I've been to their house, it's like they have this drawer in the kitchen and it's just a bunch of junk. And there's corkscrews and packets of sauce and sporks and all kinds of craziness in there. And there's always a corkscrew in there. And anytime you're trying to open a bottle of wine, you have to like dig in there. And so we're going to make one today. So we're going to start with this nice piece of scrap round stock that I have. So it's, about yay big. It's slightly smaller than a 1/4 inch. It's probably they probably label this a 1/4 inch round stock. So it's got a round profile. And it's pretty long. So ordinarily when you're doing a project, you might want to cut things down a little bit. But today, I think what I'm going to do is, because I'm unfamiliar with this project, I'm going to start drawing it down and kind of eyeball how much I want to draw down. And then we'll cut it off when we're satisfied and draw ourselves out a rivet, and we'll probably rivet it to a piece of square stock for the turning, like the T section that you turn the corkscrew with. So that's kind of the plan that I've got right now. And like I said, I've never done this before. So, we're learning together. And so I could screw this up really badly, or I could, nail it the first try. But I'm really thinking that we're going to be somewhere in the middle. So we'll see what happens. And, I'll take you along for the ride. Just as an aside, I've uploaded my latest video on YouTube, and it'll be the last one for a while. I'll do fine. Awesome. I will definitely take a look at your train video. Yeah, that's exciting. I look forward to it. I'll try and take a look at it as soon as the stream's over, when I'm, after I'm done checking out the VOD and stuff and downloading it to my server. So yeah, I will definitely take a look at that. So another thing, while we're, waiting for people to come in, and just before we start really going at this, there will be one can or propane change during this video. I want to work a little bit further through this container, but I have a brand spanking new one, so we'll only have to change it one time. But I want to work through more of the propane in this container before I exchange it. So I always end up exchanging them earlier than or quicker than when they're empty, because they just get to the point where there's not enough pressure in them. But yeah. So I could totally use them for barbecuing later on, but I don't barbecue a lot, so. First things first, always turn on your forge. There we are. Okie doke. Might be better off getting a bigger tank. Hello, welcome in. Come on, light my fire. Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, I've been looking into getting a 120-pound tank. I have a Rural King that is near me, and they actually sell the tanks and they'll refill them too. But because it's a 100-pound tank, I can't exchange it by myself. So that's part of the reason why I haven't been jumping on that 100%, because I still I'll probably need to have 1 or 2 tanks of the smaller ones. So, or when the big tall one starts getting low, because I have to wait until the weekend when my partner's around to exchange the big tall ones. So I will get one 100%, but it's gonna be a little bit of a transition. So the plan is to get one. It's a good song, by the way, just in case. It is a good song. I like Johnny Cash. Alright, so steel in the fire. Oh wait, that's the wrong end of the steel. There's a little bit of some marring at the end of this that I want to keep out of the fire. So I'm gonna put that in the quench bucket so that it's nice and cool, and I will put the other end that doesn't have all the scrape marks in it in the forge so that it can heat up instead. And I don't think I'm gonna need my tongs today because I think this is gonna be long enough. We might, however, need a pair of welding gloves because it might get hot. Where did I put that welding glove? Right here. So I'm gonna put this welding glove right over here. Let's see. The Doors did it too. Yeah, I think there's been a few different covers of that song. The one I remember though is Johnny Cash. So, but yeah, good old country music, good old classic rock. It's really nice. I like to listen to it when I'm like going on long trips and stuff like that. I have a tendency to, like, when I'm out in my forge not streaming, I have a tendency to listen to stuff that has a much heavier beat or a quick, fast-paced drum and bass line. So I tend to do techno a lot. Sometimes I'll do classical music because it kind of has a heavy rhythm section, and it helps me with my music I'm listening to a lot. Alright, because this guy is really thin, it heats up real fast. So we're almost ready right now. I'm going to let it simmer in there for a little bit, gets a little bit more heat going, because waving it around like that kind of cooled it down, and I want to bring you guys a little bit closer so you can see the anvil top. So we'll do that. So like I said, once again, I am going to be changing my Twitch handle to something a little bit more blacksmithing related. Because right now I'm just using my gamer tag. And that's all well and good for like streaming gaming or watching people's streams. But I want to make sure that you guys, or I want to, you know, kind of unify the branding. So, yeah. I go through all kinds of music, mostly due to the games I used to play. Yeah, games are so good for like and different artists of music. Like games have been revolutionary for classical music. We really thought that the classical music was gonna die, and then like video games and like movies kind of saved classical music and classical composing. So that's really exciting. All right, so first things first, we're gonna square this piece of round stock off so it's a lot easier to make. I think that I'm going to do about 3 inches first from the get-go, because like I said, I'm not entirely certain how long that I need this to be. I'm gonna start with that, and we can always move back if I decide that I need more stock. So for this project, I'm really thinking that we're going to need a point at the end so that we can like dig it into the cork. So I think we're going to squish in and point off the end of this bar. And then I think we're going to draw this down so it's like a relatively equal amount of material all the way through. So that when we curl it around, we're not, you know, opening up the hole or getting bumps or anything in there. So yeah, that's my plan, like I said, is to bring the end of this bar to a point and then draw or taper this all out evenly. And we'll get some length as we do that. Is anyone else having audio issues? Are you guys having audio issues? It might be because my microphone seems to be shimmying in my clothes a little bit. Audio is okay. There were some frame drops. That's no issues on audio. Okay. Well, let me know if we get an audio drop or anything like that, and I will see what I can do about adjusting. It looks like the audio is going into my phone adequately, but it might be, like I said, if there's frame drops, it might definitely be because my Wi-Fi is still a little bit iffy. Okay. Yeah, my Wi-Fi is a little bit low right now too, I think. So that could be an issue. But yeah, within the next couple of days, I should, and then we'll be able to set that up. It might take me a couple more days, so Wednesday's stream might still be a little bit Wi-Fi iffy, but I will do my best to get that up as soon as possible for you guys. It would be so nice to be able to stream at a slightly higher quality. I know right now I think I'd max out at 720. I'd like to get up a little bit higher than that if I can manage it. Is the corkscrew going to be wine bottle size or more just practicing the shapes? Honestly, it's probably just going to be practicing the shapes because I am really not familiar with a standard size. My goal is to make the corkscrew section about, I don't know, yay big. Maybe so maybe 2 inches long with the, kicking my computer about, while it's curled. So we're probably going to need a lot more than that 3 inches that I flattened out. So, but it's a good start and we could always add more as we go. But yeah, we're definitely learning how to do this. I've seen people do them, but I've never done them myself. It's a pretty simple project overall. The most difficult section of this corkscrew is actually going to be curling the material around to make the actual screw section, because we're kind of curling it around air. I don't have a jig or anything to curl it around. It would be a lot easier if I did it in the same method that I use for chainmail. So what I have for chainmail is here's a little bit of scrap chainmail that I was working with. So basically this is just a thick wire, right? And then I have a thinner wire, and what I do is I clamp this end or one end into a vise, and then I just kind of wrap it around like that, right? So that's kind of the shape that we want for our corkscrew, but I don't have a jig for it. So we're kind of going to be wrapping it around air a little bit, and we'll see how I can how that works. I have 2 days of this project planned. So today we're going to be kind of playing around a bit. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to, if it goes well, we're going to continue it. And if I screw something up horribly, we're going to start from scratch. So we might be doing this all week. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but it could also, if I do this really well for whatever reason, and it just works smoothly for me, then it might just be 2 days. Yeah. So like I said, we're learning. We'll learn together. All right. Let's see. off the bar pretty well. So now from here, we're going to start pointing out that tip. Glancing blows at the edge of the anvil, because we want that nice sharp point to go right into that cork. We're going to use the glancing blows on all four sides to get that evenly and in the center. So we're starting to get a really nice point in there. I think we need to go a little bit further on this direction, but yeah, we've got a pretty nice point. I'm pretty happy. So I'm going to put it in, and we're going to go one more heat on that just to get it real nice and pointy. And then we'll start drawing it back. Ouch. Huh. That's something I never thought I would do to myself in the shop. Pinch my finger in the clamp that holds my phone. I guess that is a new, a new shop injury to rack up on the list of potential injuries. But it's all right. I don't have a blister or anything. We're good. Barely hurts. All right. There it is. Man, we moved my tool rack, and now I don't know where half my tools are, because I usually put them in the rack that's over here, and the rack is usually over where this laptop is. So I keep looking for it over here, and it's over here. Technology is here to save us until it isn't. Exactly right, man. Exactly right. But yeah, I have this so I stream from my phone through the app, and the front-facing camera is all right, so I can actually see myself as I'm streaming, so that's why I'm looking, or I watch myself, I guess. I hope that it looks like I'm looking at you guys. Anyway, so I have these weird clamps, and it's got a really, really tight spring, so that when it clamps down, it holds it really nice. And I like it because the direction of the phone faces, it's kind of I don't want it to drop my phone, because it would suck if my screen shattered. Anyway, so yeah, I like it, but yeah, it kind of pinched. All right, so what name were you thinking about for my new name? So I'm looking at doing Ray's Smithy. So let me type that out so that you guys can read it. So I'm thinking about doing Ray's Smithy. I don't think I could get the apostrophe in there, because that's a special character, and it's really hard to get those in a lot of usernames and stuff. I might be able to get it on but I'm looking to do it in YouTube and Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch. So we'll see about getting it there. Hopefully that will work itself out. It might be some variation on that. But like I said, I want to unify my branding so that you guys can find me on whatever platform I'm on. And this way, if I do Ray's Smithy and not just put blacksmithing, then I can do silversmithing, goldsmithing, and work with copper and stuff like that. Eventually, I'd like to do that. Probably not this year. I might do some silversmithing techniques on copper. But silversmithing and goldsmithing is a little bit more expensive, and that's just not in our budget right now for this project. But in the future, I would really like to be able to do things like this, or gold and silversmithing too. Cool, very cool. Well, I'm glad you like it. I feel like it's also pretty, you know, if I were to do like a line of like hammers or something like that, we could like put that on, you know, the hammer, you know, like my friend, he made this hammer and he put country on it, and that's kind of like, I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of really faint on there, but he wrote country on there. So like, you know, there might be times where I, you know, do like a contest and, you know, raffle off a hammer that I've made or something, and it'd be nice to be able to like, you know, put my branding on there and, you know, so you guys know where it came from and stuff like that. So sounds very interesting. I hope so. But yeah, like I said, I'd like it all to be, you know, because right now my Facebook is R Downing Art, and like my Twitch is like, you know, the Reagan R, and I've got like a whole bunch of other handles through various platforms, but none of them are unified. And so I want you to be able to find me on all the platforms. Definitely put your maker's mark on stuff. Yes. I'm also like looking into like, you know, redoing my icon and stuff like that. Cause like when I first started this for, you know, like a month and a half, 2 months at max. So you guys have found me so quickly, and I guess, you know, I didn't have my branding ready, I guess. So we're gonna start adding it in there, you know, a little bit at a time. And somebody may confuse you with that Australian dancer. There's an Australian dancer? I know that there's someone who's ray gun on, oh yes, the break dancer from the Olympics. I remember now, yeah. So that's been my gamer tag for like 15 years. So I had no idea that someone was going to, you know, use that. But yeah, it would be nice to, you know, separate myself a little bit. All right. That is getting a little bit warm, so we'll put on the welding glove. All right. Continuing to put that point in there. It's starting to bend a little bit, so we're not ready for that to bend, because if it starts bending too far, it might break off, and we're not, you know, we're not ready for that to happen. It'll be harder for it to stay there if it's too thin while I'm still forging it, because it'll cool off really bad and it'll start cracking, and I don't want that to happen. So we'll stay there for the moment, but we'll start tapering this back a little bit. All right. Yeah. So it's still a little bit thicker than I'm gonna want that for, you know, for skewering the cork. So I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to grind it down to the, you know, really sharp point. And that's going to allow us to keep it a little bit thicker than, you know, we need it to be, but also keep it in one piece. Like I said, when it gets real thin like that, it will start cracking and it'll get cold shunts in it, and we don't want that to happen, because we definitely don't want the whole thing to break off, and that's what will happen. So yeah, we're gonna start tapering this back, and it will lengthen out as we do that, And we'll add more material back here if we need to. But overall, I think we are going to shape up pretty well. It should be a relatively quick process. And like I said, the hard part is going to be putting that twist in there because we're twisting around air. Welcome in, welcome in. I think this is the first time I've ever seen you wear at least one glove. Well, I think this is really like one of the first times that I haven't been using like tongs on the regular. Part of the reason I went with such a long piece, like I said, I don't know how long that this is going to, to be. So it's better to have more material than I need than less material, but it's not quite long enough that the end will get a little bit hot because it's like pretty close to the forge. And I have to hold it steady. So I got to make sure that I'm not, burning myself. It wouldn't like actually damage the skin, but it would be rather uncomfortable, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like when you turn on the shower without, any cold water when you're first turning on the hot, and it's like, it's hot, it's not going to burn you, but it's uncomfortable. And that's kind of where we are there. So I'm using the welding glove as a pot holder, kind of. Yeah, so part of the reason that I don't use gloves on the regular too is because I have a lot more grip with my bare hand than I do with any sort of glove. A welding glove is going to be a lot better than some types of gloves because it's got that, the cow's like hairs on it, I guess, because it's like that raw leather. So it's got a little bit more of a grip than say like, like a gardening glove, but it's still not quite as much grip as like your naked hand with all of your, fingerprints and everything. The best grip is going to be a bare hand. So I use, the tongs or my bare hand as much as I possibly can so that I can get that tactile feel. Understood. Awesome. I like knowing that I am explaining things in a way that is understandable, because sometimes my brain doesn't put together the words in a comprehensive manner. I'm really good about talking gibberish sometimes. So like I said, we're going to start tapering this back with really nice, even, steady blows. We're going to we're going to hammer on all four sides evenly so that we can get nice, flat areas. And any bumps and lumps are taken out as we hammer. And it's starting to look like we're going to want more material. So our next heat, I'm going to bring that taper back a little bit further. I definitely want it to be a lot thinner than it is right now, because we're still much too thick to go smoothly into the wine bottle's cork. Here I have a little bit of a twist going on, and By hammering the corner, that pushes the material back on itself and upsets it back so that we can reestablish our 90-degree square profile. So for this project, I'm kind of talking a little bit stream of consciousness. I'm telling you guys, like, I'm trying to explain like how or what I'm thinking as I use my hammer as I create this piece. But it might get a little incoherent at times. I'm hoping it doesn't. But so far, so good. I think I'm getting a little bit better at these explanations. A couple less ums and ahs. Understood. Don't we all sometimes? For sure I do. Yeah. So, like, yeah. It's kind of like, because it is stream of conscious a bit, my brain's a little bit awkward when it comes to that. I mean, I know they say that some people, like, they think with words, and so it's like they're having conversations and talking to themselves all the time. And then some people are like pictures, and they just see pictures and ideas, and it's like kind of nebulous and stuff. They kind of talk about that in some like psychological papers and stuff. Well, I have the stream of conscious, like the word thought. So like, I'll talk to myself in my head all the time, or like have a song playing or something like that. So sometimes I don't think in full, complete sentences, and sometimes my sentences get cut off and then a new idea starts. So I've got to kind of like rein that in a little bit, make sure that I'm using full sentences, with a subject, a verb, and, all that sort of stuff. Looks like I'm going through a lot of water today. I might have to refill it, and I did not bring a bottle of water out here, so we'll see how that goes. I might have to take a tiny break of propane, that way I don't leave the fire just going unattended. That might work. So I'm bringing that taper back by creating a square profile. We want a lot longer taper than we have. Let's try that again. I want to create a much longer taper than the length of the corkscrew itself, because we're going to lose a lot of length to the curls themselves. So there is actually a chance that I could use this entire bar. That's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. If I were to curl this entire bar, I think I'd probably, it'd probably reduce by half. So that's a really long corkscrew. So I think maybe if we do twice as much length as I think we're gonna need, we might want to go about to here. And that's kind of okay. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm gonna mark this like that. So by marking that, I now have an indent where I want this taper to end. So now we know how much we want to try and square off. Clean that off. say that my brain didn't come with a parking brake, but it has 2 accelerator pedals. I can totally relate to that. Like, I'm constantly, you know, having a brain, because I always have like a song going, and like I'm thinking about something, and then I might actually be doing something that I'm not even thinking about. So I have to I have multiple things going on in my brain, and I have to focus down to like the one thing that I'm actually trying to do. My brain likes to wander sometimes. Less so when I'm like, you know, streaming, because I've got, you know, the stuff that I'm doing and the conversations with you guys, and then I'm also kind of half monitoring my equipment. But I'm getting a lot better at monitoring my equipment, I think. So there's less of that to think about, which is really a good thing. But yeah. So, like, I'm thinking, let's go through this again while we're waiting for the metal to heat. So I'm thinking that by drawing out double the length that we need for the corkscrew, we'll be able to get let's see, if I taper double the length that I want for the corkscrew itself, then when we twist it, we will get the length that we desire. I wonder if that made sense. Taper double the length and reduce it by half by twisting it for the corkscrew. And the bottle is starting to freeze up at the bottom, so I probably have maybe 10-15 minutes before I'm going to have to change bottles. All right. I've got it. I've got this. All right, so we've got a mark back here that we're looking for. It's right there. So we're going to continue on squaring off our round bar so that it makes it easier to work with, and we're not changing angles every 3 seconds. It looks like we're curving, and that's all right, because as we turn to all 4 sides, we're going to be straightening out that bar with every hammer blow. It's a very good thing. A nice steady hammer rhythm. But we're going to need to reduce it in size. All right. Let's straighten that out a little bit further. We've lost a lot of our heat, but we're still good to go. So I'm pretty happy with the length that we've got right here. So we're from here to there. And I think we're probably going to end up with a corkscrew that's about yay long, maybe closer to this long, which is probably long enough to go through all the way through a wine bottle. So that, at least that's what I think. I don't drink a lot of wine. I don't really drink a lot of alcohol, but I think that works. Well, my bottle is almost empty too, and I'm all out of wine. Well, you'll have to get more wine. But don't drive if you've already been drinking. We're kind of in that weird space where, or between Christmas and New Year's, where like nothing really matters and you can get drunk at like 8 in the morning and stuff and nobody cares because nobody's really doing anything. So if that is you, please don't drive. Good, at least there will be more for me. Yeah, I don't drink a lot, but you know, when I do, you know, occasionally I will with friends or family at like celebrations and stuff. I will drink, you know, a little bit. I think really it's that I was really poor when I was going to college, and since I was an art student, all of the money that I would have had for alcohol went to supplies. So, and I picked a really, really expensive discipline. So I had to buy sterling silver and steel and like plaster all the time. And I had to spend several $100s on metal all the time. So I didn't really have a lot of money for alcohol. So I didn't really develop the taste for it. And I guess my boss would be very happy if I took one of the locomotives for a spin. Yeah, I a train for a spin while drunk. But I mean, you know. All right, so like I said, I'm losing a lot of heat, so I'm probably going to work on this particular taper, and then I will probably change the bottles. It'll give me a good opportunity to get some more water, so I'm probably going to leave you guys going for a little bit. I'll have to come up with a good view for you guys. And then you can like kind of look at my shop and give me some questions maybe. So a heavier hammer strike will reduce the height and width, the height and width of our material and get that nice taper that we're looking for. We want to reduce a lot of the material so that it'll ease into a wine bottle or a wine cork very, very nice and smoothly, so it doesn't take a lot of effort, because we don't want it to take a lot of effort to open our wine bottles. So we're starting to get a little bit, all right, so we're starting to get a little bit of reduction there. So that's exactly what we want to do. I'm really liking the width right here. So I'm going to try and reduce everything back to that same width. So that's kind of like our standard right now. We're definitely going to, you know, start working a little bit further back, a little bit harder, and a lot less, we're going to give ourselves a lot less power in the front. Cool. All right. I think that'll be all right, I hope. I shouldn't be gone for too long. I just want to refill just real fast. I will be right back. And you guys can probably hear me. All right. I hope that wasn't too distracting. Yeah, it's good. Okay, cool. All righty. Now we're going to turn off the main model. Put that there. Oh, it would be nice if I had this open at the right length. There we go. Come on. Too wide now. Oh, that's because I was tightening it instead of loosening it. That's a smart thing. I've always had a lot of trouble with righty-tighty, lefty-loosey as a concept. Because it's right at the top and it's left at the bottom, and I never understood what people were talking about. So like I understand clockwise and counterclockwise, but the whole righty-tighty, lefty-loosey thing, that's very confusing for me. And it makes it worse because the propane tanks are backwards threaded. So instead of righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, it's lefty-tighty, righty-loosey. And that's a little confusing for anybody, really. Once this is done, if you guys have any questions or comments or anything like that, let me know and I will answer them, because we're going to have to wait again until the sky heats back up. Ooh, I do not like this new tank. It's got an old style handle, so it's a lot thicker than my normal handles. It's like yay thick. I don't know why. It's weird. I do a propane exchange at my local hardware store. So it's kind of a crapshoot, whichever one you get, when that's the case. But the good thing about that is I don't have to maintain them. So if there's like a leak or anything like that, I don't have to deal with it. All right. Yeah, propane tanks are left threaded on the inside. Yes, they are. Because I think a lot of the flammable gases are that way. I know for sure that acetylene is. I'm pretty sure that oxygen is as well. And yeah, because like the flammable gases, they want you to really think when you're hooking them up. So that you don't accidentally, like, you know, hook it up and it's not a tight seal. So yeah, you have to really think about when you're, you know, using the threads on a flammable. At least that's what my instructor told me. I think that kind of makes no sense because, like, regardless, you're thinking about the threads, right? Whether they're righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, or lefty-tighty, righty-loosey, you know? So, I don't know. It is what it is. I just do what the standard tells me to. All right. It's about 50 degrees out today, so it's a little bit on the nippy side. So sweatshirt weather, but it's not like hot or anything. And so I don't know, my nose is kind of runny. If you hook the same 20-pound tank up to a barbecue grill with the grill collar nut, it's right thread. Is it? Yeah, that's right. That's about right. Now that I think about it, I guess like you said, it is. It depends on, you know, your regulator that you're using. Mine is an interior one because it's the high pressure regulator. Because you need, what is it? I think it's 23 psi to run a good forge like that. I mean, it's been a really long time since I've actually had a PSI gauge on the forge, but I do have one on the mailbox, and yeah. And on my channel, we can share weather info that way. I don't have any of the like bots on this channel. I need to get some, but I'm not entirely, or I haven't really done any homework on how to do that. I do have Streamlabs, so if there's anything that's like a default command, you could probably use that. But like I said, I haven't added any bots outside of the Streamlabs like default stuff. So yeah, if there's any bots that you'd like, just I will try to write them down and I'll do research into them. Yeah, we can share weather info. I mean, I love you guys, but I don't know that I'm ready for you to show up at my door. I would have to clean the house, and I have animals, so there's so much dog hair all over everything. I was gonna grab something. What was it? I have no idea. Nah, no rush. Yeah, so, yeah, I will add. Oh, okay. Apparently it smells like propane out in the breezeway. So we're good now. All right, cool. All right, we've got plenty of gas, or of heat now. We have plenty of heat now, so we're gonna continue our project. But yeah, if there's any bots that you guys would like, let me know, and I will see about getting a few. I'd like to keep like game bots out, but like, information bots, things that like, help me with like shout outs and, things like that. Explanations, anything like that, connect. So we are continuing to scale back the height and width of our piece. We're starting to get some really nice height there. It's nice and thin on this side. So we're gonna try and even that out. So we've got the same on both sides. It's gonna make it a lot easier if I go on all four sides. Gotta be careful that we, don't twist everything. So I'm pretty happy with that taper. I think we're doing pretty well. But I think that we're gonna need to bring it back a little bit further. Get a lot more, I'm going to continue back a little bit further, and then after that we will take down the corners, and what that does is it will increase our sides from 4 sides on our profile to 8 sides on the profile, and from the 8 sides we can round it back out, because if I am remembering correctly, and I'm pretty sure I am, Corkscrews, the wire is all the way round. So we want to make sure that we round out that profile. Whoa. I almost lost my phone. You guys saw the ceiling. All right. So, simpler is better. Bots are handy for facts. I much prefer listening to you than too many sounds or voice bots. Yeah, I'm probably going to keep my bots like on the silent side. So like, I'm very interested in seeing like follows and subs and, people entering the chat, new chatter, stuff like that. But I'm probably going to keep the sounds off on this channel. because I want to keep a clean audio track so that I can edit videos for YouTube. And I'd like to keep everything as simple as possible. So I haven't put any like borders or like you know, the weird boxes and stuff on the screen. I want to keep a very simple, very basic setup. But yeah, like facts and like, you know, frequently asked questions. I guess that's what facts means, but like, you know, that sort of thing. That's awesome. Yeah, because like I said, we're not a video game, so like I kind of, and I'm not, you know, dressed up in little mini skirts, you know, doing dances and like, you know, talking about the video game characters. We're kind of trying to do like a traditional, you know, a craft. So I think the simplicity and like the basic kind of like enhances the subject matter. All right, wow. I'm gonna turn down the forge just a little bit. We've gotten a little bit hotter than I like it usually, which is actually pretty exciting because I'm getting to a point where the tip of the metal is starting to get like quite hot on the gas forge. But if it was a coal forge, I would have lost my tip already. Oh wait, all right, I think I'm gonna actually do this one in the white so you can kind of see what I'm doing. And then I'll go back to the tights in a few. So I've kind of got an even stroke going here with a very loose grip on the hammer. Oh, I'm starting to twist it. So on that corner, I'm going to untwist it. That way things can go back to square. Pretty happy with that tip, but I need to bring down the back of that. So you can kind of tell when I am in the wide that I'm actually kind of holding my piece against my hip and my leg. And part of the reason that I do that with both the, you know, the long pieces, and I also do this with the tongs. I rest them on my hip so that, and it kind of gives me a little bit of stability so that I'm not like, you know, out here waving around the piece. I always know where it's at, and I can kind of like keep it real nice and steady. It's like the, you know, the butt end of like a rifle. You know, you kind of put it in your, you know, in your at your shoulder to kind of steady your aim, and that's exactly what I'm doing by putting the piece and resting it on my thigh or my hip. So it keeps that piece much more steady than like if I just like hold it out here, because if I hold it out here, then the vibrations from the hammer hits tend to move the piece around on the anvil. There we go. So if you can tell, there's a lot more heat in the tip of that, and it's quickly cooling off, but we've got a nice amount of heat in there. We're kind of going to work closer to the back and we have a lot less heat here. And that's probably not a good thing, and I should probably allow it to heat up a bit better, but I'm also, by putting it inside the forge in the way that I am, I'm heating this section up a lot more, and I'm a little bit afraid of it just kind of like flopping around. So I took it out a little bit early. So right now we have about this amount of material, and I'm thinking that it's going to make a curl about half that, so we'll probably get about there. So I think a couple more heats and we'll work on this back area, and then from there we're going to round it out, and we'll see what that does. We might end up adding a little bit more taper towards the back as we start this curl. We might also end up with a really short corkscrew, and I'm hoping that that's not going to happen, because I'm only really allowing for double the material. And there's a chance that I might need like triple the material, but we'll kind of see what we're doing as we go. I think, like I said, if this ends up being a disaster, we'll just start fresh on Wednesday. So we'll learn together. Let's see. So are there any other projects that you guys are interested in seeing like sooner than, you know, just the nebulous future? Like there is one I know people ask for a nail, but I'm not planning on doing that one for at least for January, because I need to make a nail header. And I don't think you guys want to watch me make a nail header, because it's basically just like cutting out a piece of material and, you know, drilling a hole in it. But it will actually take a little bit longer and a lot of effort, because for whatever reason, using a drill actually takes a lot of, you know, of effort from me, and it makes me really tired. So I have to do that on a day that I'm not streaming. So I need to do that either on the weekend or on a Tuesday or Thursday. So I need to make sure that it's a day that I can come out. And Tuesdays and Thursdays are a little bit hectic. But if there's anything else besides nails that you guys are interested in specifically, probably keep them to be a little bit of a simpler project. I'm thinking like, you know, one piece of metal, or, you know, maybe two pieces of metal. You know, well, I'll try and keep them down to like a week of hammering. So probably not like a knife or a sword or anything like that, but we can probably, you know, think about what sorts of projects you guys are interested in seeing. Iron Woman suit when? So I don't know if I know I didn't put it there. So the people, the few of you that have seen my Facebook, I did actually make a suit of armor. I think I put it on my personal and not on my business site, but I will see about putting a few pictures up. It was more like a cosplay suit, so it wasn't like an actual, like, you know, heavy one. It was like really thin material, but I did shape it just like they would for like a knight's armor, some kind of thing. So are you talking like a shepherd's hook? So that'd be like a long thing about yay big, and it's kind of like got a curve and a hook. Or are you talking more like an S hook maybe? That's like just a regular S made out of metal? Or what sort of thing are we, can you like describe it or maybe link me an image of something that you're looking at? Because I mean, I could definitely do like a shepherd's hook. We would need that to, we'd need a really long piece of steel for that, but we could definitely do it. We could definitely make S hooks, which is kind of like what I imagine a hook for maybe a bird feeder might be. Because it's like S hooks are really good for hanging chains on like a loop. So like I've got a bunch of S hooks that are on the outside of my house. And they got like little D hooks that are in the overhang of my roof. And so you use the S hooks, and then that's where we have like spider plants in the summer and stuff like that. So I can do something like that if you're interested in seeing. That's a really easy project. We could probably do that in one day. A smaller version of a shepherd's hook that you could screw into a post. Okay, so what sort of shape are we looking? Are we looking for like the screwed, or the screwed section for screwing it into the post? Is that perpendicular to the rest of the hook, or is that parallel to the rest, like a continuation of it? So is the whole thing a J, or is it more like a weird 5? Because let's see here. I'll bring you over to the anvil so I can draw on it. All right. So this is a piece of soap chalk or soapstone chalk. So are we talking maybe something more like this? So like it's a J with like a perpendicular piece here, and that's like where the screw is, and it's kind of a hook like that? Or are we talking more like, a hook that's more like just a straight J, where like, maybe you put it like so? Are you thinking more like that? Or maybe something more like that? Because we can do one of these pretty easily. This is just a J hook, and then you put in a perpendicular area, and they call something like this it would be a modified blacksmith's hook. So if I made that, it would be a J hook, and then this section here, you could either nail it into a board or whatever, or I could tap that and turn that into a screw, so you could just like screw it into there. So you'll have to let me know if either one of those, because I mean, it might be that it's like completely different and I'm just not thinking about it correctly. So yeah, let me know. Continuing to work that back. Thin that out and make it nice and even with the rest of it. We're also straightening it out as we go. We are starting to get a little bit of a twist, and I'm not really excited about that. I'm not really happy, but I think it's all right, because I think what's going to happen is we're just going to start rounding that out, taking out all of the lumps and things so that it's nice and round. because that's eventually what we're going to do anyway. And this is already the correct width, or at least the width that I'm interested in right now. So if we round that out, it'll take out the twist and it should be fine. So I want to thin this out a little bit further, and then we'll round out the rest of it. And then maybe we'll start that curl. I got a link. Oh, those would be really easy to do. I could definitely do that. So are you thinking flat or flat stock maybe? Or I could totally see that doing that in flat stock. I could do it in square stock, or I could probably even do it in round stock. Let me see. I think I've got some square stock that I could use. But if we wanted it to be flatter, so it'd be more like a rectangular profile as opposed to, you know, a square. So it'd be like a really, you know, like a, But yeah, I could do it. If I started with square, I could flatten it out into a rectangular flat stock. Or I could just get a hold of a piece of flat stock. I will look into this project. My version of it. Okay. Yeah, I can 100% do that. That looks like a very simple project. I could probably do that in about a day, especially if I started with a flat stock. Kind of looking around the shop to see if there's anything, or if I have any like scrap laying around. I don't know what that is. But yeah, I've got a few pieces that I can work on with that. Do I feed birds? I don't feed birds like actively, but I have a whole bunch of bushes that the previous owner put into the front yard, and they actually attract hummingbirds. So like in the spring, I get hummingbirds all the time because there's like these flowering bushes, and they really like eating the nectar out of that. So, and then I've got some tulips in the backyard, and the birds really like that too. So like I said, I don't actively feed the birds with like a bird feeder, but there are plants around all around the house that hummingbirds like. We also have a couple families of cardinals. One of them actually got into our chimney last summer, and we had to get rid of them. That was an ordeal. It was like a mommy and a daddy, and like I think there were 5 chicks that we had to get them out of the chimney, and then like put a chimney topper on it because they had ripped off the mesh grating on it. Oh wow. Yeah, so it was kind of rough because I have a dog and I have a cat, and when the birds got in there, they were like really close to the actual like fireplace itself. And like our fireplace in there, it needs the flume needs repaired. So like they weren't getting in the house necessarily, and we don't actually use the fireplace, but the animals went, like my dog and my cat could hear them flapping around in there, and they would freak out. So we really had to get them out of there. We called like 2 or 3 different like places, like a chimney sweep and like a animal control, and they were like, we can't do anything about that. You'll just have to wait for them to leave on their own. And we were like, what? So eventually the babies learned to fly, and they left, and so that's when we kind of closed it up. And we'll have to sweep it out eventually so that like the nest and whatever is left leaves. that is my experience with birds right now. But it would be nice to actually be able to see the birds where we want them, as opposed to, like, you know, random other places. There's also like a field out behind my house in my shop, and we get a lot of like birds from there. So we are thinning out the back of our corkscrew, trying to maintain that like even taper. And we're getting a lot closer to where we want it to be as far as that thing. Nice, even, flat, and to, you know, keep the bumps and lumps away. So I'm thinking that, I'm starting to think that we're probably going to end up with about this length of corkscrew now. So I think I'm going to actually start rounding this out a bit, just so that I can actually make sure, or like see how much length we're going to reduce by curling that. So that way I know, you know, if I need to taper more of the piece. So I always feel like it's a little bit on the boring side for you guys watching. When I do the same thing over and over and over, heat after heat. But that's kind of how blacksmithing goes. It's a very patient, methodical craft. So it takes several different it takes several heats to do the same thing, because you can only move the material so far per heat. So I'm hoping that, you know, you're still entertained, at the very least, by me talking to you guys, maybe. And I mean, it is very ASMR, just seeing the results in the slow, methodical process. So, you know, if I'm ever boring you, you know, let me know. I'll try and spice things up, liven it up a bit. To be bored. Blacksmithing is very exciting for me, but every once in a while I wonder to myself if, you know, because like when people play Skyrim, it's really exciting, but I find it boring to watch people playing at least Skyrim. Other games are really interesting and entertaining to see, but like when you sit there and loot an entire house for like 5 hours, that's a little bit boring. At least for the person watching. Gotta get back to the, you know, fighting the dragon. So I want to make sure that, you know, every once in a while I get to fight the dragon in the shop for you guys. Whoops, there goes my hammer. That's probably exciting, watching me throw my hammer places. Alright, so I'm gonna start taking the corners off of this piece. And we gotta start this really, really softly, because we've got a lot of heat in here. And we don't want to squish out the corners completely. We just kind of want to like gradually reduce the corners and create another face in the profile. So then once we take out the corners, then we start rolling the piece across the anvil and start taking out all of the faces, the edges and whatnot, so that we're really rounding it out. We are taking out all of the lumps and the bumps and all of the little divots and things. Also, during this process, it's really easy to straighten everything out. A lot of times I will look down the piece. I hope if I do this, maybe you guys can see it's really nice and straight. We got a little bit of a twist, but we're taking that right out. So it's a nice process. So now we've got it relatively, about this much of it is nice and round profile, and that's ready to curl. We are going to take the roundness back a little bit further so that it's all nice and even, and then we'll start curling it like a pig's tail. Just don't drop it on my foot. Well, if I ever drop my hammer on my foot, I wear steel toe boots. So the steel cap in my boot saves my piggies, my toes. So I got about this much of a steel cap, and then, you know, that way I can like rest things on my boot, or I save my toesies if I drop my hammer and things like that. So, you know, that's another thing that, you know, it's not necessary for the shop. Even if I did drop my hammer on my foot, it wouldn't hurt that much. I wear steel cap boots too. See, I love my steel cap boots. I wear them all the time. Like when I'm out and about at the store or anywhere I'm at, I always wear my steel toe boots. They're, you know, they're very comfortable. They're the most comfortable shoes I own. So like, cause they're like, if you spend a lot of money on good steel toe boots, they'll last you for forever. And that's what, you know, these guys are. They are, what are they? What brand are they? They're like Eagle or something? No, they're Wolverines. They were originally $175, and I got them on sale. Been there, crushed toenails right off my feet. Oh my gosh, yes, I cannot express how much pain it is to lose a toenail. It mitigates most of the possible damage, but not all of it. Used to wear Chippewa. Yeah, these are my first really good pair. Like I've only had to have 2 pairs in like 50 or the 10 years that, well, it's been more like 15 years now that I've worn steel toe, or that I've needed steel toes. My first pair were a pair of Walmart special. I just went to Walmart and bought the smallest pair of steel toes that they had. And those lasted for several years, and I was shocked because normally Walmart shoes fall apart in like 6 months. But yeah, these have lasted me, let's see, I think I've had these since like 2019. So yeah, almost 6 years. So, you know, they've been amazing, and like they're getting to a point now where the tread is starting to get a little bit thin. I'm looking at maybe, you know, having them resold though. CXS. Huh. Yeah, I think I've heard of that one too. That's a pretty good brand. Around here we also have Caterpillar. I thought about getting those, but I got the Wolverines for a little bit cheaper. I mostly wear these days. Yeah, my partner wears composite toe boots. They are a cameraman he's a cameraman for like the news station, and so like he likes to. They're constantly moving heavy boxes of equipment, and it's really convenient for him to rest the tool or like the boxes of tools on his toe caps when he's trying to move stuff around, so that it's got a grip underneath of the box. I have mine for about 10 years now, and they sort of look awful, but they're very comfy. Yeah, I painted the porch of my house in these steel toe, like purple on the toe cap, and then like when I redid the tile in my bathroom, and I kind of drug the leather off of the tip of the boot a little bit, so it's kind of lighter on the top. So they're kind of ugly now, but they're overall really nice boots, and they're still so comfortable. I'm really impressed with how long they've lasted. All right. All right, so we are continuing to round out the back side of this corkscrew by taking off the corners. We want to we want to hammer all 4 of the corners down evenly so that we don't have a small section or on one side and a larger section on the other. That probably didn't make sense. Let me explain that a little bit better. So the hammer, like the area that the hammer itself hits, tends to go a little bit flatter than the side that the anvil touches. So I hammer on all 4 sides so that the squish remains even, if that makes any sense. And we're at a nice black that we can like start really smoothing that out a little bit further. We're not going to get a lot of large movements, but we'll get a lot of really small movement. So that's ideal for taking out little bits of corners and stuff. Little bumps. And straightening out. This works really well for straightening out. So I think I've got a real nice round profile, and so I think for our next step, we're going to take it to the edge of the anvil, the corner, and then we're going to start hammering it over the edge, which will curl it, and we'll start curling out that corkscrew. We'll see what kind of length we get doing that. Gotta run. Time to walk my dog. So goodbye and see you some other time. See you later. If I haven't missed you already, yeah, thank you for joining, and I hope you had fun. I always have fun with you guys. Everything seems like it's going pretty well with that section. So we're probably going to stream for another half an hour, and then we'll probably end the stream. And whatever we have left, we'll assess. We'll either continue on Wednesday, or we will assess it, decide that we want to start over again. and we will start fresh on Wednesday. So closer towards the end, we'll decide what we want to do. So far, it's working out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. So hopefully I will be able to, salvage it, and then we'll just be able to continue with whatever that we're doing on Wednesday. Because even if we get a nice curl going, we're still going to need to make the top of it a rivet so that we can kind of give ourselves a handle for it. So yeah, that's the goal. We will either, continue on the corkscrew or we'll start fresh. And like I said, I know I am. I'm going to change my streamer tag to the Ray's, the Ray's Smithy Shop. Wow, brains. So yeah, we're changing the streamer name to Ray's Smithy. So don't be alarmed if you get your notification that I'm streaming and it's a different name. So that way we can find each other easier. Right. So we are hanging our piece off of the edge, and we are starting to use glancing blows. And as you can see, that's starting to really start curling that in. And so we're going to bring it down, and we are going to kind of bring it offset a little bit. We're really trying to curl that in. So we're working on all four sides of this anvil. We've got a little bit too much of a straight right there. So we need to curl that in a little bit further because our curl is too circle at the end, so that we can sorry, my nose itches. We're going to reduce the diameter of the circle so that we can get the corkscrew in the cork. Right now it's too wide. Starting to think that even if I do like this corkscrew, I think I might actually start fresh on Wednesday because everything that I've learned on this corkscrew, I'll be able to explain better on Wednesday with a fresh corkscrew. That way it'll be a little bit more coherent. So I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna do. I hope you guys don't mind. You usually don't. But yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. That way I can, reinforce in my own brain how I'm making these, and I can also explain it better. I am also looking at getting, I'm also looking at getting the Wi-Fi extenders. Hopefully I can get those this evening and we can, set those up tomorrow. But I will put that as a priority for this weekend at the latest. Because I really want to be able to, stream at a higher quality for you guys. and also use the second camera. That would be great, so I don't have to continuously change the stands for the camera. It would be really nice. And right now I do not have the bandwidth on my Wi-Fi, or like this far out from my Wi-Fi to get that second camera in there. So I will make that a priority for this weekend. So we're reducing the diameter of our curl. We're also going to kind of try and lengthen that out a little bit. We may end up having to pull it out later. So we've reduced that a lot. I'm pretty happy with that curl now. But it's really a really close curl, so we're gonna have to pull that all the way out. After we're done curling it, I think it's gonna be a lot easier to do. So we've got quite a bit of curl going in there. I don't want it to be I don't want it to widen out. I want it to be a really nice tight curl, just like that one. And then we will open that up in another heat. So we're gonna heat it up again so that we'll get lots and lots of movement. So I'm actually pretty happy with this corkscrew and how well it's going. I thought that it would actually take a lot more effort and be a little bit harder to do. Like I said, I do think that I will have to stretch out that piece, the curl. It's getting really, really close together, very similarly to the chainmail links. So I will have to stretch it out. Hopefully I can do that with the vise, but I'm not positive on how that'll go. So I will have to see if I can, work on this a little bit more maybe tomorrow so that I know what I'm looking for. But if not, we'll start again on Wednesday. Couple more heats and I'll probably raid you off to another creator. So on Friday last week, we raided to a potter, and they were glazing bowls, and I hope that was pretty interesting. I also saw that there was a glass blower on, and I almost wished that I raided them, but I did not see them when I was looking for people to raid, so maybe we'll find them this time. Keep the heat going. But if you guys have got something or someone specific that you'd like to raid off to, I'm always up for suggestions. So we are continuing this curl. We're on our third loop here. And so we're doing glancing blows off the edge of the anvil, and then we flip it up and we kind of hammer it in towards ourselves and down as well, using glancing blows the entire time. So like I said, we're working on our third curl, or our third full curl. I think I want maybe 5 curls. It also looks like we're gonna need more material. So on Wednesday, I will have more material ready. That might be interesting. All right, I think I'm gonna do this heat and then I'm gonna read you off. And I'm gonna go set everything else up for the rest of my day. So I'd like to thank you all for joining me. We will be back on Wednesday at 2:30 Eastern. Just like every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'd love to see you back. But thank you for joining us today. Got a pretty good curl going on there. Too lumpy and bumpy though, so I think we're gonna start fresh on Wednesday. So thank you all for coming and watching the stream. I enjoy talking to you. I have so much fun. Thank you so much. We will see you later. So I think I saw a jewelry maker. We might raid them. Let's see. Looks like we're making some jewelry. Let's raid them. Bye guys. See you on Wednesday.